Speaking on my journey into high-end fashion, it started out in what was classified as streetwear in 2005 and began to roll into full-fledged high-end by 2007. What I found was the availability and actual existence of items I actually wanted was very limited. There were mainly belts and small leather items. The kind of clothes and styles I thought they would have, they didn't. Clothing that they did abundantly have was a far cry from what I would call stylish, and prominent monogram pattern clothing and logos were very rare. I was super perplexed. For years and years past, I had always seen rap stars and street legends wearing high-end Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and other designer brand clothing that was the apex of style. Fashion so fly, it gave these brands top status in hip-hop culture, and by way of that, it gave them that status with the world and not just with wealthy elites. Through study, research, and acquiring, I found that most of these brands only had a heritage of luggage, handbags, and small leather goods, and most had not even been making clothing or had a ready-to-wear to the emergence of this man, Harlem's legendary Dapper Dan. While one day witnessing the hysteria surrounding someone who had purchased a small designer handbag, Dap, ever the visionary, seeing it was the brand pattern or monogram that made it instantaneously recognizable, and promised the individuals present he could make whole pieces of clothing like that. This led Dap to inventing a process where he could put designer patterns on a range of materials and a variety of colors. Thus, the magic began. Street figures and hip-hop artists began to come to Dapper Dan to get exclusive, custom clothing that could be gotten nowhere else. Luxury houses like Louis Vuitton and Gucci didn't even make clothing. Dap would have a legendary rise to prominence, but eventually the luxury houses would shut him down and themselves get into clothing. But for years, the clothing was nowhere near the quality and the style of Dapper Dan. It wasn't all just the use of the patterns and the logos. It was the accompanying design, the essential parts used in these brand symbolisms that they themselves didn't know how to use. Eventually, high-end brands would gradually change their clothes, taking inspiration from Dap's work. Some would flat out copy his designs. In 2017, after controversy, Gucci would collab with Dapper Dan. Dap had a resurgence / reemergence in the mainstream, and he was getting some of the credit he deserved through those online who knew the history of his work. Luxury brands could not deny his contributions and his influence on the direction they had taken the clothing of their brands since the years of his public exile. Dap and other African Americans that followed him like Virgil and Pharrell had changed luxury fashion forever. Since the 2005 to 2007 period I began this video speaking of, I've been a regular customer of luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace, Dior, Armani, and Fendi, and I've witnessed the change in the clothes many produce and their progress. There is now an abundance of items I would consider stylish and purchased, and I know that Dapper Dan is who created and paved the road of that progress. Many consider Dapper Dan the father of logomania, but what he definitely was undeniably was an innovator, being the first to take luxury brands and just brands period and put them in automobiles, also making bulletproof clothing like his famous snorkels. If you're interested in learning a lot more about Dapper Dan, I recommend you pick up his memoir, Dapper Dan, Made in Harlem. You also could pick up Don Diva's cover story magazine on Dapper Dan, which I sell in the Imperial 7 store.
Now and forever. Getting the sword toward the pen.